Well, hello everyone, welcome to the allotment tour at the end of December. Hope everyone's had a nice Christmas. I wasn't too sure about doing something today or for a few months because there's not going to be much changing at this time of year, but you know what it's like between Christmas and New Year, sitting around eating too much turkey, think I better get outside. So kicking off with the rhubarb bed as usual. We've got signs of life in the rhubarb, so just reaching that point where I'm thinking I'm going to cover one of the crowns with a bucket and get some blanched stalks so that I can try my hand at making some rhubarb gin. So yes, I'll have to get a bucket from home and do that at some point. And the wallflowers are surviving, and I'm looking forward to Taybury having some fruit next year. So I forgot to mention in my previous video that we had built another strawberry frame, so we need to get a net for that. So our beans are coming along nicely. And the new fruit bushes. The black currants, 2 different varieties, and the gooseberries, 2 different varieties. Neither of which I can remember, as always. We're still getting a few carrots, but they're quite small now, and the parsnips similarly. And we've got some spinach which is still edible. Got several places with spinach, and just some cover crops, green manure in a lot of the beds now. I noticed there was people have been answering the challenge about reflecting on their year, and it got me thinking about the successes and things like that, and failures. And I have to say, I think the sweet corn was probably the nicest thing, not because of the yield, but because of the fact that we never had it so fresh. It was just so nice to be able to grab a couple of cobs, take them home, stick them in the steamer, pop some butter on them, and away you go. So more cover crops here. And probably the most disappointing was peas, because for years and years we've been watching people on YouTube. I remember Rick Van Man, back in the days when he had an allotment, grew some peas and saying how delicious they were, and so many people say about the fact that they never make it off the plot. But yes, ours weren't so nice, no matter how fresh they were. So since the last video, I've gone and finished off the featherboarding at the back of the bank here, and that allowed us to put some more wallflowers in, so we've got a bit of a flower display at the beginning of next year. And I've sort of started digging the hole out for the pond, but I realised that I needed some soft sand and various things to finish it off, so I thought, well, I'll just leave it for now, possibly do that in the early spring. Now, one absentee is the apple tree that was there. Decided just to pull it up. It was one we'd inherited. It had been badly trained, it was in the wrong place, and we tasted the apples and we couldn't really tell whether they were a cooker or an eater. I had no idea what it was. So this space is going to be filled with a red love apple tree, which I first came across by watching Sean James Cameron. So anyone who knows or familiar with his old rusty allotment will know that he had a lot of success with that, and it's beautiful blossom, lovely red pinkish flesh to the apple, and partly it tastes really nice, so I thought might as well have one of those. it's quite a nice day today. Well, I say that, it's about 5 degrees, but at least the sun is kind of popping out. So this is our in situ compost, which has been breaking down. And the strawberries and sort of field beans are thrown in there just to give some more cover. And that's the pluot that went in for the last video. And ryegrass and more beans in there, and various cover crops. I think the pak choy is done for. Don't think I'll be harvesting any more of that. Still got one giant turnip there. So one thing that's changed since the last video is that we've got the 3 espalier apple trees in. So this one here is Saturn. That was one I think that Charles Dowding mentioned in his latest video about fruit trees, which was very interesting actually. I wished I'd seen it before actually buying all these trees, but I don't feel like we did anything wrong. But it was interesting to know, because of the dwarf rootstock that we're using, what to expect and how to deal with them. So that's James Grieve. Oh, by the way, the dahlias that we had, as I'm not lifting them. We don't, and all I did was chop down the foliage and put that on top as a mulch. And if they survive, they survive. If they don't, it's a planting opportunity. And the third and final espalier, this one is Merton Nave. So the idea about these is that they're staggered in terms of the cropping, so that we're not got a glut of apples all at the same time. So some pinks still in the pot, and this is our potato pots ready and waiting. This whole area will be for the potatoes. Back we come to the rhubarb. Yes, I think that might be the candidate for a bucket. Very early signs of growth there. Right, so there we have it. So I hope everyone's having a very pleasant festive period, and wishing everybody the best for 2019. Take care, bye for now.